lets you know that there's some things that we need to talk about, you and I. This ain't got nothing to do with Tyrone. It has nothing to do with his not opening your door, him, asking you to vibe. It has everything to do with you. Welcome, ladies, to the Soft Life Manifesto. My name is Christina, and I'm here with another juicy letter from actually Sweet Maya today. But before we get into that, have you gotten my book yet? Because if you haven't, jumped on Amazon and purchased The Soft Life Shift, which details the step-by-step on how to transform your life from a life of go, pushing, stress, overwhelmed, overstimulated, to a life of ease, to a life that you design yourself, to that soft life. I'm just encouraging you to go and grab it now. It is really, truly transformative, and it will bless you. So check it out. Now, let's jump into Sweet Maya's letter, because I felt so bad for her as I was watching it, or as I was reading it. I felt so bad for her. But it's something that a lot of women deal with these days, because we deal with these bare minimum men, and it leaves us feeling depleted and like we're not enough, like we're unworthy. But we're going to get into those feelings in just a sec. All right. She said, "Dear Christina, let me tell you about this man before I lose my mind. He told me he's really trying to show up for me more, but I think we have different definitions of show up. Example, he held the door open to me one time last month, but he did it after I already grabbed the handle. So it was basically community service at that point. I asked him to plan a date, just one date. And he had the nerve to say, I'm not good at logistics. Christina, the man organizes multiple fantasy football leagues every year with spreadsheets, reminder alerts, and weekly recaps. Meanwhile, our last date was him asking me to pull up so we could vibe on his couch. Sir, I am 32. I don't vibe. I have goals, skincare routines, and a bedtime, and goals to get married. Do I release him back into the wild, or is he a soft life liability I need to cut immediately?" So, sis Maya, you already know the answer, but the fact that you're sending in a letter to ask me about how to respond to this lets you know that there are some things that we need to talk about, you and I. This ain't got nothing to do with Tyrone. It has nothing to do with his not opening your door, him, asking you to vibe. It has everything to do with you. And let's talk, because I need to understand in more detail, have you taken an inventory of your internal needs, who you are as an individual, and what makes you tick? Have you done that yet? By the sound of this letter, I can tell you that you probably have not done that, because your understanding of who you are as a lady, as a woman of God, your understanding of that is very, very, very weak. Because women who live the soft life, that are truly living the soft life, they've done the internal work. Because soft living, yes, an aspect of it, okay, let me go frolic in the spa, or let me go get my nails done, or let me go take this beautiful trip to the south of France. Yeah, okay, maybe some of that's part of it. That's the surface stuff, the frivolous stuff, right? But the real soft living comes internally. It's an internal healing that happens that allows for you to live in a space of less stress, less self-hate, like more self-love, a dialogue that goes on within you that tells you that you are important, that you are worthy to be elevated in high ways, that you deserve to live softly. That's what soft living is. But what you're telling me with this letter is that you're allowing people to impede on your world that continue to reinforce these ideas in you of a lower self-worth, a lower self-value. And you may be saying, well, I never said I had low self-worth or a low self-value. Well, 90% of what we do dictates who we are and what we think about ourselves versus what we actually say about ourselves. And your actions are conveying that you're really not you don't love yourself. And that's okay. Like, you can be in a space of like, okay, I don't love myself. How do I love myself? But if you're in denial, if you're not self-aware of the fact that like you don't actually really love yourself, because if you did, you wouldn't even be to the point where he would even feel comfortable asking for you to vibe on the couch, because you would have said no 10 times earlier when he asked you a few weeks ago. You would have already said no. And he probably wouldn't have even been in your life. You wouldn't even be dealing with someone not opening the door, because those things are important to you, you know? And your self-worth, your self-love lets you know, like, okay, a man who isn't doing the things that make me feel feminine, that doesn't make me feel the things that make me feel like I can operate in my softness. If that man cannot do that for you, you don't invite him to your life, because you love yourself that much enough to say, like, if he can't do those things, then he can't be around me. He can't have access to me. So first, I raise this because your first action is awareness. I always say that. You have to be so aware of who you are as an individual to then be able to fix those things and live a different life and make better decisions. And self-love is a matter of deciding that you matter, because you do. You matter as an individual. His actions illustrate to you that you don't matter. And that's why you're hurt. And that's why you're upset and why you're sending the letter, because you really like him. And you really like him because for some reason you see something in him, but he makes you feel like you're not worthy. He makes you feel like you can't relax into your softness. He makes you feel like you're emotionally in a bad place, because he doesn't support you emotionally. So I'm not here to point fingers at you. I'm just simply here to coddle you with my words so that you understand that these are things within you that you're going to need to start changing, and recognizing that you are worthy. You should be loved the way you want to be loved. It is your God-given right to have the things that you desire for your life. So why not go for those things? But first, before you do, find the space within yourself to recognize that I am amazing. I am a catch. I am that woman. I'm that girl. I am so beautiful inside and out. I love myself. When you get to that space and you stand in that garden, right? The self-talk is so high, right? When you stand in that garden of love, self-love, none of this ever even comes into your oasis, because you would have already seen the writings on the wall. The first time when he didn't get that door, you would have been like, sir, this is the expectation. You would have just stood there and waited for him to open the door. I remember this man took me on a date, and we arrived at the restaurant, and I'm sitting in the passenger seat. He gets out the car, and then he's waiting for me to get out. And I'm like, girl, I stood in that car. I sat in that car for a good 15 minutes before he came and opened my door. I didn't care, because in my mind, I was like, I'm going to sit here until he opens his door. And then when he opens the door, I'm going to tell him, thank you so much. I just love when a man opens my door. And he's already going to feel embarrassed, because I'm not going to be upset or hurt or I didn't have any of that, right? I just simply let him open the door. And I said, thank you so much. I really love when a man opens my door. And then, of course, he responds, oh, my God, I thought you were on the phone. I thought you were having a phone conversation. I thought that's what you were doing. No, he's just not used to having that level of chivalry. And, if he's with a woman that's not important, then that's not important to that woman, then it's okay, So anyway, ultimately, I say all this to say that I want you to begin to build yourself up in a way that allows for you to know that you are worthy, that you love yourself. And once you do that, you will recognize the tide will shift. You will begin to attract men that are on that same wavelength, that see women in that same light and adore having women who they can be able to pour into in that manner. So until next time, have an amazing life, an amazingly soft life.